Hello, everyone. Welcome in. I'm Peaceful Nick the Medium, joined today by the incredible and amazing, as always, Aunt Jen. Today, we're going to talk about our spiritual journey. Say hello when you pop in. If you don't know who I am or you're new to the channel, I am an evidential medium specializing in helping people heal. I am certified by Mark Ireland and Helping Parents Heal. I'm also a scientist, and I've worked in science communication and education for over 20 years. And I've been a professional medium for 7 years. And today we're going to talk about our spiritual journeys. Aunt Jen, give us an intro for all the new people on the channel.
I know I should work on an intro, and you know me, so.
Got that Aquarius energy.
Aquarius, Libra, Gemini, but yes. I think the best way to put it is I've honestly been journeying to self-love, for as long as I can remember. And I have definitely gathered it's diverse toolbox, I would say, to help myself and be able to support and help others that have the same desire to live a little bit more freely within themselves, loving themselves, being okay with who they are. So I do a lot of one-on-one coaching, and I also do groups, and I also am healing myself. So I'm on this journey as well. Some days it might look like I'm a couple steps ahead of you, but honestly, just depends on who woke up earlier this morning.
Exactly.
They have the head start. So someone else is on their spiritual journey and you woke up at 5 or 6, you're ahead of me today. And that's okay. It's not about being ahead or behind, but those are facts.
Right. And, and we're going to talk about that because it's so funny you mentioned that. I put a post out this morning. My granddaughter was here, and hello everyone. I'm going to get to your comments in just a second. My granddaughter's here, and I take her out because I'm always up first. I get my coffee, take the dog out, and I made a little video of just the trees and the birds chirping. And then I wrote something like, you're right where you're supposed to be on your journey. It might feel like you're stuck, or it might feel like a bad day, whatever it is, you're right where you're supposed to be. And it's so good to get that message while I'm out in nature. And then I turned that into a post for my my email subscriber list. And lo and behold, I got emails back saying I needed to hear that today. And sometimes you send out these mass emails to so many thousands of people and you're like, they're probably putting it in junk or ignoring it or whatever. But there's always those few people that get the message they need to hear. So we are all right where we're supposed to be. Good day, bad day, up day, down day. It's all part of the journey. And I want to say hi to Vivian, hi to Tina, hi Lucille, hi Gina, hi Doug. Mr. Dent is in the house. Hello. And thank you, Wisdom Seeker. She noticed my new jewelry. Thank you, sweetheart. Hi, Mangled. How are you today?
I'm saying hello too. I don't know why I can't see that's me though. I'll get some glasses and I know it's there somewhere, but I don't ever look at who's there and what's happening. I'm so glad you do. But hello to everyone.
Don't worry. I'm nearsighted, so my glasses are to see far away.
Oh.
So if I put them on, it's a blur. So, and let's say, I wanted to say, if you're new to the channel or you're watching live or the replay, likes, shares, and subscribes are always appreciated. They're totally free. They help boost us in the channel on mine at Peaceful Nick and at AuntJen888. It helps put us in the algorithm. YouTube has been changing its algorithm lately. Excuse me. And things have been different here. So any interaction with the video, any comments on the live or after the video, always helpful. So thank you all for that, if you feel compelled to do so.
We appreciate it.
I'm glad you're hanging in there, Mangled. And Mangled has had kind of some stuff happen that was some upheavals in her life recently. And so that is also part of the spiritual journey. And I think we should address that today. I'll give an example. I get irritated with myself all the time. Hello, Holly. Welcome, welcome, sweetheart. I get irritated with myself all the time, and I'll drop something or I'll make a mess, and then I'm just like complaining and bitching and oh my god, I can't believe I dropped that because I don't want to make clean up a mess I made. Or some days I just wake up and I am not in the right frame of mind, and things just don't go well, or I haven't had enough sleep, or I'm exhausted, or whatever. Do you have anything to add to that story, Jen?
No, it doesn't ever happen to me. So I don't really know what you're talking about. Yes, I, you know, I come on here.
Some days are more struggle bus.
They really like, you know, the way I look at it when I say that, at least the terminology I've used is I got on the struggle bus and I can't get off. Like they will not stop the bus for me. Like I can't jump off it. I can't like, and I think that like, I don't know, maybe, you know, there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of things out there. There's a lot of ways of doing things. And, you know, I just don't believe that like turning your light on means that bad days and darkness and heaviness are not going to happen, and that you just kind of get to you know, love and light yourself to the other side, you know, like, oh, let me have my tools. Like some days I don't feel like using my tools. Like, you know, I am a spiritual being having a human experience living in a human body, and some days I just don't want to. Like I don't want to. I don't want to use my tools. I don't want to get myself out of my bad mood. I don't want to like I just want to stay in it. And I think there's been times when it hasn't always been the most beneficial, and I've learned from that. And then I think there's been a lot of times when I've looked at it and been like, well, you just let yourself be, and it kind of works itself out to some degree. I can't just always walk around and be like, wow, this is like, I mean, I forgot my ring light. I was like, oh, that's going to work really well. I forgot shoes when I came back from my trip. Like I wasn't, obviously, and I look at that and I'm like, I wasn't paying attention. My point is that like, I became frustrated with different things. And like, sometimes you're just frustrated. Like sometimes things are just like frustrating. Sometimes like you're living in a human experience, being affected by everybody. You know, all your tools, but your tools have just gone out the window for an hour, a few hours, like a day, like whatever it looks like. It always comes back around. But I mean, I just think it doesn't always look like it's like the lotus, no mud, no lotus. Sometimes I think I'm sitting there real nice, looking at that beautiful flower, and all of a sudden I've just slipped right back in and I am covered in mud.
And then the mud becomes the lotus. And that's exactly, you know, Mangled said earlier, not going to lie, being over 40 ain't for the weak. And now she says self-care days are part of integration of the new stuff. When in doubt, let it play out. And then we have to understand that sometimes when we're in it, that's the key to the shift.
Yes.
Now, you and I, and the whole point of today's live stream is our spiritual journey, how we came from our past lives into the life we have now. Not our past spiritual lives, our past, this human life in the past of this since 1970. Well, sometimes when I say past lives, it means actual past lives, but that's
I get what you're coming from right now.
So hi, Trent. Hi, Carol. So what I'm trying to say is today's episode is supposed to be about how we journeyed from what happened in our past human life this round into what we did to transform certain parts of our lives. And yeah, sometimes, and you know, we've known each other for a long time and we have both sat in that mud. We have both sat in that mud. We've sat in that mud way longer in some circumstances than the other. We've sat in that mud and said, I like it here.
Mm-hmm.
It's cozy. It's warm in the mud. Because when you clean off that mud, this is metaphorical, y'all.
I'm going with you. Everyone else catch up. Let's go.
When you clean off that mud, you're like, but I'm uncomfortable. I feel naked without it. Where's my pain? I'm comfortable there. Where's my sadness? I really like it there. Where's my anger at those people who hurt me? I like that anger. That feels real good. That feels real good. And I can be mad at somebody and blame them for why I'm mad and just stay mad. And some people do that forever, for their whole lives. And so through a million different circumstances, you and I, we've had parallel but dichotomous journeys, right? Sometimes they've been right there together. Sometimes they've been very different. And here we are, basically pretty close to the same point in our lives of, okay, we're not taking any crap from anybody. We know what our boundaries are. We're not letting anybody mistreat us anymore. We're not being disrespected by people who are supposed to love us anymore. And low effort friends and family can go be low effort by themselves. So if anybody in the chat's having one of those days today or over the past few days, because it was just a really powerful new moon. If anybody,
No, sorry. I'm just going to say, because it's the new moon. So it's the small little sliver. So it's mostly dark.
Yes.
And
And today was a void moon today.
Today was what?
A void moon for most of the day.
A void moon.
Meaning you're staying in the mud. Be careful.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, we're talking about it and it's like, even if you don't want to use your tools, sometimes, I pulled out, I don't know how many tools today, and I still was just feeling a feel, and that's okay. I got on my yoga mat. I've done it. And sometimes you're just still kind of in that place. And that's honestly when you get to ask yourself, it's really you asking yourself, what's happening? What's going on? Like that's when you get to reparent yourself. We talk about I talk about a lot of different things, but a lot of it really is reparenting, like being there and parenting yourself when something's going on in a way that you wish you would have had done for you. And it's not necessarily sitting there making our parents wrong either. They did the best, they did the best they could. Okay, well, it wasn't what I needed, right? Whatever that looks like, whatever your story, come back though to what we're talking about right now. And so when something's happening, that's when when I'm talking about compassionately inquiring, that's what it is. You're compassionately asking yourself questions of what might be going on, what might be needed, what might not be happening. And then that's when you get to show up for yourself. And that's another thing that is a journey. There's not I wouldn't say that it's always going to be like this, but I'm going to be on my spiritual journey personally until I take my last breath personally, like to what extreme and what level and what, all that, like that's relative and it's undetermined. Yet I knowing myself and watching the first 54 years and now this end of it being like, okay, what are these next, whatever it's going to be, right? What is that going to look like? And to me, it involves healing. It involves being in my own face. It involves doing the work. It involves, figuring that out where a lot of other people, it lies somewhere else for them. And I think that's great. Like everyone gets to figure out kind of what that looks like and what that feels like. And after saying that, I'm just going to read this real quick. And then, because I wanted to look it up myself because, I always want to say,
take your time. I put your quote on the board here because I remembered it when you said it this time. And Wisdom Seeker, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you so, so, so much.
So when this topic was first brought up, like, okay, let's talk about it. And I was like, okay, all right. So I just wanted to look, I just wanted to see, right? I was like, what does Google say is a spiritual journey? And I loved it. A spiritual journey is an inward, lifelong quest to
Mm.
discover your true self, your core beliefs, and your connection to the world around you.
Mm.
There's more, but that was like the first piece of it. And so for me, like hearing something like that in a language that I can comprehend and understand, I'm like, oh, I understand exactly what that is, because we make it into like, what is the spiritual, like, when did you have your spiritual awakening? When did you have your spiritual awareness? Like, when did you, like, I look back on it, and now for me personally, I know that I was always on one. Like, some people have their own, like, I just know, and I can share snippets to be able to, the evidence that I found, right? To be able to do that. But I just wanted to leave it at that for a second while we see what's going on with everybody. But that is what that is.
And I love that. And shout out to Wisdom Seeker for the super chat. Those are always welcome and help allow us to do this type of work. So I appreciate that. And I put your quote up, Jen. They did the best they could, but it wasn't what I needed. I think that should be on t-shirts. That should be on posters. You should put that on a picture of something out in nature because you live in a beautiful area, and just post that all over your social. You need to start copywriting these.
Well, but I mean, honestly, if you think about it too, because it's like, we always do that where we're like giving the parents and be like, they did the best they could, which are facts. Like, I mean, I can't even imagine, like, like even from the most, like, everyone's coming from their own set, and then we go from there. But it wasn't what I needed, though. So you did the best that you could, but it wasn't what I needed. I needed to hear someone talk me through things. I needed to hear this, or whatever that kind of looks like.
Right.
So, and
Go.
sorry. I just was going to say also, like, I think that there was some comment that Wisdom Seeker had said, and it was like she's trying to move out of the negativity or something. And yes, that is, but like, I believe it's a part. It's just a process of moving through it, not trying to get to a place where it's never going to be there, because then it'll just show up, and then you're like, sideswiped or whatever all of a sudden, if you're like just trying to always avoid that, right? And just be like, oh my God, I'm feeling some dark negative energy, I need to just move it out. And it's like, okay, well, let's find out what that's about. Like, you can't just always, like, and I'm not saying that's what you said, Wisdom Seeker, but it made me like want to bring something up, because it's not that I'm holding on to it, but I'm like, I don't know, I feel like there'll always be something, even if it's only like for 5 seconds, right? About, or a minute, whatever that looks like, of negativity or whatever. But it's not always like trying to be like, oh, I just don't want to be like that anymore. It's like, well, I mean, yes. And
I saw a lady, and I want to go back to what you said about it wasn't what I needed in a moment. But I also want to say, I said this on my live the other night. I saw a creator on Instagram, a younger woman, 30-ish, 25, 30. It's hard to tell because she was like super filtered. So I don't know what she really looked like. Attractive woman. And she said she was healed, and it wasn't that hard, and didn't take that long. And now she's healed.
Wow. Okay.
I was like, I don't think that's how it works. That I would call, as a professional medium and someone who works with spiritual modalities and healing, and been on my own spiritual journey, I would call that spiritual bypassing. She just magically healed real quick, but she didn't allude to what she healed. Everybody has a garbage truck full of stuff they need to heal. No matter what kind of life you had, there's always something that hurt you. And I want to say, I'll get to the comments in a moment. I want to say, when my mom died, I was 15 in 1986. And my stepmom was mid 32 to 35, somewhere around there. And so we moved from, my dad and his wife and her 2 daughters were in California already. And I was in Missouri with my little sister and my other sisters. But me and my little sister were minors, and we had to move to California because we were minors to live with my dad and his wife. And I remember, stepmoms always get the worst of everything in every family, right? They get the blame for everything. And I remember after I had my kids, I remember realizing when I was in my mid-30s, oh my God, my stepmom had to take on 5 other kids essentially, because eventually everybody moved to California and we were all together. And I remember thinking, I can't even imagine if my husband's ex-wife, well, my husband doesn't have an ex-wife, but let's pretend if he had an ex-wife that had 5 kids and she died and we had to take them all on, like, I think my brain would have exploded. So I don't know how she dealt with that, and she didn't drink. So, like, what was she doing to numb the pain? Like, can you imagine all of a sudden you have these 5 other people and all the other kids of my older sisters had kids already. And it's like, wow, that's a lot to take on. So as you go through your life and your journey, you see things from a new lens.
Mm-hmm.
And so, although I'm sure she did the best she could with the tools she had, which I'm sure she probably, no one's prepared to take on a whole new family like that. But it's still, she did the best she could, but it wasn't what I needed. And it just never was. Like, we're very different still to this day. I'm a very open blurter. I'll just blurt it out and tell you, this is what I need. And people are like frozen, like, I don't know what she's talking about. So, yeah. So not everybody has the tools or capacity to
and not everybody has the desire. Some people don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care. They're going to stay in their world the way their world is. They're not going to change. The ones that are, I never changing. Changing is bad. No to change. It's like, okay. And, I mean, I don't know.
Trent, I want to get to some of the comments. Trent said, it's taken me 59 years, but I finally got there. It's been so liberating, even though getting here was experiencing and getting through serious trauma. That's what it takes sometimes. And I think every single person I know who's on a self-love, self-healing, or spiritual journey has been severely traumatized. Every single one. Vivian said, my parents didn't have the ability to protect themselves or to guide me, but realizing my spiritual journey, they are exactly what I needed. And that is so important. Mm-hmm. That realization is so important. They are what you needed in that time to create your becoming who you are.
Yes, I agree with that, because I personally believe, like, just my own, like, if my parents weren't who my parents were, I wouldn't be who I am right now. Like, if they had a different capacity, if my mom had been a crunchy mom, that's what they say out there, these crunchy, like crunchy moms or whatever, who are like so into holistic and all this, they're using like these verbiages, like, then I would be very different. Maybe I'd be resentful, right, of having to try to like do something, like being like, oh my God, my mom never let me eat M&Ms, or, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, and so it's like, they were perfect for me, for what needed to happen. And, I definitely was seeking spirituality from as far back as I can remember. Like, as far back as I can remember, I was seeking for something. I was finding things in other people's families, in their cultures, in their religions. My own family was not, they weren't interested in that. So they were raised with their religions, but they didn't put that on their children, on us. They were kind of like, go figure it out yourself. You go see what you want. You go.
Well, I think that's a lot.
That was the whole scenario of like pretty much my, like, go figure it out, Jennifer. Like, we don't, go figure it out, girl. Like,
I think that's pretty Gen X.
Whatever. Figure it out.
I think Gen X, anybody Gen X in the chat, we were pretty feral. We were just like going and doing whatever and figuring everything out. And that's why we are the best generation. I'm just saying, because we can drive a stick, read cursive, write cursive, use the internet, and so much more.
We can read a clock.
We can read an analog clock. I can tell the time by where the sun is. I learned that when I was living in Missouri. Hello to Ara Shelley from Missouri. I think I gave you you won one of my free readings, I think, previously. But I learned to tell the time by the sun. by my mother when we would go camping every summer. She would always say, okay, if it's this many fists above the horizon in June, I don't remember all of it, but I can give a good estimate. It's
Hmm.
somewhere between 2 and 4. So I can
Yeah.
do that. And then let's see, Mangold said, true self-acceptance is learning to love the parts of ourselves that aren't so pretty, face the shadow and embrace it.
Ding,
Yes.
ding, 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 ding.
Yes, check, check, check. And Bazinski said, thumbs up this video party, people. Yes. Hi, Alina, Kalina. Hello, welcome in. So everybody, please click like on the video, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube. I prefer you watch on YouTube personally. And comment, share, subscribe if you haven't already, if you feel compelled to. It all helps. Yeah, Gina said I was a free range kid. Yeah, so were we.
So
Both
then
Ken
right.
and I were both free range.
So then you're out there free ranging, and I'm around like all the cultures. I mean, San Francisco was the mecca. It was like I couldn't have asked for, I always think about that too. Like, so it's like I might not have gotten what I need from my parents, but like the city made up for it for me. Like I always say, thank goodness I was not raised in the suburbs, which a couple of people in my family, they wish they were, but no. I would never have made it in a suburb. But in the city, I got to experience everything. I got to watch things. I got to like have things like, what's that? What does that mean? And like just getting around people and like always seeking to, I knew that I was unhappy. I knew it. I knew I was unhappy. It just wasn't matching with what was going on. And so I was always seeking like, what can I do to make myself happier? What can seem to happen? And there was a lot of blame because I think that's a part of the piece. So I think that like, I'm trying to like, there's a lot of pieces for where my path kind of went. And up until I was 21, like I was definitely just intrigued, very open to like what I was learning about all these different cultures and religions and taking little pieces. Right. I love that. Instead of taking a whole big thing, I'm very good at taking one little piece out from something and being like, that's all I want from that. And I'm going to leave the rest. Like I don't know how I'm able to do it, but I'm able to find a way to just find the goodness of it and leaving some of the rest behind. Mm-hmm. And then I read Toxic Parents.
Mm-hmm. We read that at the same time.
Yep. Which still to this day, I've never written that much in my life.
Me neither.
Never. I mean, I couldn't stop writing. and then still out there, doing whatever. And then probably my mid 30s, I ended up getting a job where one of the things I had to do in the job was meditate. And I was like, what? And I was like, okay. And so then I had to sit down, and I always look at it this way. I sat down, I closed my eyes, and I had nowhere to go. There was no escaping me. There was no escaping anything. And so I would just start to listen, and I would just start to like go through different things about that because I stayed. I didn't leave when I became uncomfortable. And then I went through many trainings. I'm certified in so many things, but I don't really talk about them very much. And the reason I don't is because I'm not certified to try and teach other people. I did it for myself. And then as I'm working with people, then I'll bring out some of these different things if they kind of align with the person. But I mean, I've done 2 yoga trainings for myself to like do it on my own, because the journey of becoming a certified instructor in anything or whatever you're doing is quite a journey. Like it really is. Like you're literally going through a whole, but I've been to more retreats, more silent places. Like I have gone to so many different modalities of places of doing the work in different ways. And that's why I'm like, it's going to continue. Maybe the work has changed now, and now it looks a little bit like this or like that, but it's like, it's always going to be evolving and pulling from the different things that I have and have not. I will probably do more retreats. I will probably do more trainings. I will probably do more, like, because it helps to expand who I am. It helps to work with what's happening on my spiritual path that I'm choosing to take.
I love it. And I put your quote up. I sat down, I closed my eyes, and I had nowhere to go. Aunt Jen on meditation. And that's some of us. I am, we all talk about fight or flight, and there's also freeze, and we've talked about that. My main go-to when I'm upset is to run, 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 run. I had a situation a couple weeks ago where something upsetting happened and I was not at home. I was somewhere else and I just wanted to run away and leave. I just wanted to get out of there as fast as I could. And that's not healthy. I mean, it wasn't anything dangerous. I'm not saying I was in some kind of dangerous, horrible situation. It's just an interaction with someone happened and I wanted to run away. I'll say that. It wasn't dangerous or abusive or anything like that. So yeah. And fawn. And Mangold said fawn.
Yeah.
Okay. And Era Shelley found your channel. So that's wonderful. Good, good, good. My spiritual journey came about very differently from yours. I knew I was on some kind of journey. I wasn't really sure what it was.
Right.
I knew something was happening very different from anybody in my life. Anybody from my family of origin, I'll say. I knew I was seeking something different than any adult in my life or anybody I was related to that was older than me. I knew there was something else that was more tangible to me. And it wasn't something they modeled for me at all. Mm-hmm. You know, I grew up Catholic and I loved the traditions of the church, you know, throughout time here and there. Not all the rules. I'm not a fan of rules of any kind. No. Definitely cannot stand any rules of the church or any, if I feel trapped, I'm out. Don't
like
trap me.
Yes, no.
So I was always seeking, and there were moments when I would have priests who would give really good and spiritual homilies. Actually, there was a priest at my church in Savannah, Father Shrek is his name, funnily enough. And he was I felt like every homily he was talking to me about something I read in Eckhart Tolle. So he had to have read those books because they were very similar. And so you would get, if you had a good priest, you would get a spiritual message. That didn't happen all the time. So I knew I was leaning towards this other thing. And I knew that when I would see hippie-like things or boho chic type of jewelry or clothes, like I was drawn to that. When I would see pictures and videos of the 60s where all the hippies were out, I was drawn to that. I loved going to Haight Street, like anything that was not mainstream. Yeah. I was drawn to, but I didn't know why, because there was a freedom. Yeah. There's a freedom to that spiritual journey that isn't in the religious journey.
Yes. Great way to put it, because I couldn't agree more. Like I couldn't say it even better than you're saying it. So yes.
And so in 1994, I read, and I've said this 1,000 times. If you hear a baby crying, my granddaughter's downstairs with her mama. In 1994, I read The Celestine Prophecy by, it's James Redfield or James Redford. I can't remember.
I don't remember his name, but yep, we did. I remember that.
And I was so obsessed with that book. I told everybody I knew I wanted to buy one for every single person. I was like, you got to read it. It's so amazing. That was my first, that launched me into what would later become a spiritual journey. It's the main reason I only had 2 kids was because of that book, because he talks about that in there. It's kind of like a self-help book, but it's a novel. So it had a story. And that was my first big aha moment. And then I would watch spiritual teachers on shows like the Oprah Show. She would have a lot of spiritual teachers on her show. That's where I found Eckhart Tolle, and many others. Some have, seen brighter days, we'll say.
Well, I mean, people get into a certain world and, for me, it's like, like I said, I can pick out little things from one place or one person. And, there are a lot of things that might be going on in the spiritual world, where people came in and now it's like, what is going on in there? It's like, it happens to be a teacher, not the actual teachings. Like Ayurveda, ancient, it's over 5,000 years old. Like someone's
Right.
not inventing that. Like they might have a different way of phrasing it. They might have a different way of like, the chakras, someone's not introducing that. Like they've been made. Like
Right.
all the different energy, so to me it's like, well, that person didn't really make it, or whatever's going on. That's why it's also another good thing to have discernment within yourself, that you're grabbing some energies and some teachings from people, but then again, you are your own teacher that you're kind of finding. And so that's why I never have liked the word guru. Like it means Guru, not looking at someone else of like what they're putting out there. And I think a lot of times people will get attached on to somebody for all of their teachings because they think it's going to save them. And it's like, well, you're the only one that can actually save you. But and also like having the openness gives you more opportunities to be able to meet more people. Being able to find other teachers, being able to find this and that. So, there's a lot of different teachers out there that some of them have kind of been like, oh, where'd you go with that? Or learning more about like, and then some people are really turned off by like the yoga community, or like, being like, oh my gosh, Kundalini was, and it's like, oh my gosh, wow. I knew there was some reason why I wasn't resonating. For me, a lot of this stuff always helps me with my own internal compass.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of come up of being like, oh, I knew that. I was feeling something, but I didn't know what that was. Or I would take what they had to say with a grain of salt because of whatever was happening. And so I think it's really about learning your discernment in yourself, and don't put all, it's the same thing as like the church or this, you can't put everything into one thing.
Right.
You can if you want to, you can do whatever you want, yet you're going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
And someone's going to fail you, and then they're going to show their true colors. And then what are you going to do?
I want to say something about that. But first, I want people to put in the chat, what was your first eye-opening moment on your spiritual journey? We sometimes put people on a pedestal, some people in the public eye. And when those files that were recently released, and there was a lot of names in those files, and a lot of misinformation about the fake version of the files. And I am, it's depressing to read them. So I'm just going by nothing's as it seems, and just beware, right? Like, I'm not going to sit here and say this person's the greatest person or that person's a terrible person in general, because we don't really know. There's an actor who's really famous, really famous, really, really famous. And he's in his 50s and he's never dated anybody over 24. Like, he keeps getting older and his girlfriends keep getting younger. And it's like, that's not okay. And he's really famous and people are just like, oh, it's fine because he's got money. Well, if that was a crusty old guy that lived in a trailer park, would that be okay if he was 55 and he was dating a 20-year-old? You'd think that was gross, right? Like, just because he's rich. And so everything has just shifted over the last year for me as far as looking at people in the public eye. Because some of them are very big weirdos behind the scenes. And so the next step on my spiritual journey, so after I read Celestine Prophecy, I was totally obsessed with it, talked about it for so long. Then shortly after, I met my husband to be, and then got married, started having kids, raised my kids. And then in 2014, and I still was just feeling out life. I got my biology degree, had kids, blah, 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 all that stuff. So I was busy in the 3-dimensional world. I didn't say his name, Lucille. I was trying not to talk trash. Everybody knows who it is, though.
Oh, I
don't. So then in 2014, my niece Mandy sent me A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. And that was the next huge launching point of my spiritual journey. And I read that book 1,000 times. I wrote 1,000 Post-it notes. I had them all over my kitchen, just reminders every day. And then in 2019, I had my first mediumship experience. And ever since then, I've been on this, not only a spiritual journey, but a healing and self-love journey simultaneously. I don't think you can do one without the other. You really can't. And if you are just on a spiritual journey and not a healing journey, you need to go do both at the same time. You can't not heal your traumas, your hurts, your pains. You can't not heal and continue your spiritual journey. You will get deadlocked.
And there's pieces of it. So there's the, the emotions, our emotional component of, healing and doing that. And then there's the body, where the body keeps the score, everything's stored in the body. When there's something happening in the body, there's a connection that's going on. And so, I mean, it's an ongoing process of, compassionately inquiring, doing the work, whatever that looks like, with regards to your own self, because it's your journey. So what works for you to heal might not be what works for somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Denise said, I was a pastor's daughter. We had a new Sunday school teacher when I was in middle school. He challenged us to question the Bible. As silly as it sounds, no one had ever told me it was okay to question. That is so true. And that's why people get so indoctrinated into religious organizations where they're not allowed to question. Yes. The biggest bots, they're either bots or trolls I get, are on YouTube. Anytime I post something about Jesus or hell or anything, I get inundated. And so if you're interested, listen to Dan McClellan. He has a podcast on YouTube called Data Over Dogma. I'm sure it's streaming everywhere else too. And he's actually got a PhD in biblical scholar, something about the Bible. And he's always questioning things in the Bible, what the Bible says, what the Bible is versus what religion says. And so if you're interested in those things, Dan McClellan, Data Over Dogma, because in my opinion, not that anybody cares, the Bible is a bastardization of what it was supposed to be. And it has been tailored to meet certain needs of the patriarchy. And any female empowerment that once existed in the Bible, which it did, has been taken out. And women have been suppressed horrifically by religions, especially Christianity, which is, the Catholicism is the religion I was part of. Vivian.
I was just going to say, questioning is really important. Your own internal questioning. And it is like people that are raised with certain religions and stuff or different things like that can stop them, because that was when they're, so it's not in their usual makeup to question. So I would say, and also just questioning it, like finding out where it lives in your body, or when you hear something, how does it land for you? And if you're like, that's telling you something right there. A lot of times too, like you might not make any sense, and you can't always articulate what it is, but you just know it's a big hard no. And I only speak from that because that's me. Like I can't always articulate to have a conversation. I mean, I can with Peaceful Nick, because we've been around for how long, but a lot of other people I can't, because I don't have all of this verbiage that they want to be able to use, but I have myself as my truth teller, and I can't always be like, listen, I don't know what to tell you, except this is a hard no, or this isn't feeling right to me. And then I'm always waiting to make sure I can find the evidence to prove to myself, not anyone else, that I was correct in my particular choice that I had made. And that's like learning about your own pendulum, being your own pendulum, going forward for a yes and going backward for a no.
Right. And what sits right with you.
Yes.
And speaking of that, Vivian said, I thought I was on the wrong planet. Been there, done that. Still feel that way some days. Before I heard about spiritual journey. Looking back, I have always been on it and remember a special feeling standing in a temple when I was 2 years old. That's incredible. Those moments,
Yes.
those moments that you don't realize, I believe are in our soul plan. They're in our soul plan. You are meant to go there. And it
Yes.
just put a little data point in your brain. Remember this for later. And then you go on with your life. And then later, another little data point goes in your brain. And then one day, which I know happened in your case, Vivian, all the data points opened up at one time. It's like opening your computer in the morning and every file you've ever saved opened at one time. That's what happened. And although it was probably shocking, it was the way you needed to see it. And that was part of your journey.
Mm-hmm.
Wisdom Seeker said, I realized I wasn't alone. I could relax. Oh boy, ain't that the truth? That is really.
Yeah, it's when you don't feel, I mean, you can have a lot of other, besides like trauma bonding of other things. I think that that's probably one of the top connectors between me and you was that we didn't feel alone. And for the first time, someone actually heard what we were saying and didn't like completely be like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? Like, it was kind of like, no, it was more like, tell me more.
Right.
Wait, what is that? Wait, what is your, wait, what? And so it's like, it is important. And that does happen. The more that you get out there, you find your tribe when you find yourself, not the other way around. As you find yourself, then your tribe starts to show up and align, and then you see it.
I'm typing that in. So everybody.
Yeah, I did a
because Aunt Jen's quotes are just too good. Lily said, for some reason, my thing isn't working very fast. Lily said, my first eye-opening experience in my spiritual journey was at a young age. I was talking to relatives and having lots of heads-up dreams that came to play out. So precognitive dreams. Mm-hmm. It's been pretty much on and off since. Yeah, Lily, I believe we've spoken on Zoom as well. Is that correct? I feel like I've spoken to you. Yeah, so precognitive dreams are definitely an indicator that you are at least psychic to some degree, if not going to be a medium. If you have been talking to spirits that have passed away, people who passed away as spirits, that's definitely mediumship for sure. So you're probably somewhere in there. Make sure you get your free guide to finding your spirit guide on peacefulnickthemedium.com. And I also have a free guide to being your own medium on peacefulnickthemedium.com. They're both free. Just click a button, put in your email, and it goes right to your email address. Always check your spam folder. If you ever order anything from me, if you ever book a reading, order a book, order an email reading, anything you order off peacefulnickthemedium.com, check your spam. You don't know how many people order something from me. My website sends it automatically if it's a book or something, and they don't see it because it goes to their spam. So check your spam.
I would just say that, like, with regards to what it was Lily just talked about, like, that can be very common for people. I know for myself now, I've been more open to talking about it per se, but like, I mean, I was always talking to spirits and different things because honestly, like, it was like, well, what would you do in that? Because people on earth were mean to me. So I was like, it was a natural kind of progression of like, kind of these conversations or this talking, and then I would hear things or like things would shift. It was only between me though. I didn't even know because I didn't know any of it until you had needed someone that you had to train. But up until that moment, that's how I was always living in so many ways. And it was because human beings, I know they're not all like that, but to me, it felt like it. They were mean to me. Like, it wasn't like, and the spirits weren't.
Right. And they never should be.
No,
and that's a great point.
They were not mean at all. They were not judgmental. They were nothing. It just felt like this very safe place, even though I didn't understand what was happening. I didn't really have anyone to talk to about it. Like, I didn't really say anything because it was just like, oh, what's she talking about? Especially when you can't back it up. Like, I can't usually back up what's going on. I admit it. I can back it up for myself, but the way the world wants all of this knowledge or whatever it is that for things that I say, like, I don't have that. That's not me. And so now I just kind of kept my mouth shut because I'm like, well, I mean, what do you want me to like say? Like, that's why you and I are such a great combination too, because you can articulate everything to like, and you know, all the naysayers too, with even the verbiage and the languaging and like the facts and the science and like for everything where it's like, that hasn't been me. I'm just a very like feely kind of like instinctual learning, you know, kind of person. And it works for me, but other people, if they need the facts and the, you know, that's definitely not my audience usually either, is what I've really learned. Like, you're not my audience. Like, there's plenty, you go look it up.
Listen, my therapist, I know that facts thing is because of me, because I always want facts. And it's because of my science background, right? Part of it is I wanted people to believe me. And secondly, my scientific training. And so I was in couples therapy with my husband a few years ago, as everyone should do every once in a while, just to, you know, work out any of the kinks. After 30 years, you need to work out some kinks or you're going to get stale and stagnant and miserable. And my therapist said, why are facts so important to you? And I said, well, facts matter. If you're talking about something absolute, like we bought a white car versus did he say 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock? Those are two different things. But buying the white car is a fact, and that may be important. And that's a benign example, but facts are important to me.
They are. They are, and they're important to a lot of people. And I'm not saying that they're not important. I'm just saying the way my brain works.
I know what you're saying.
That I learn, it doesn't come out. Like, you can tell me all this stuff, and then if you asked me, if we played that game phone, you know, telephone, and if you told me all these facts and I had to repeat them, it'd be quite interesting what I would say. Like, and that would not change. That's who I am. Like, I'm still trying to figure that out. But for a very long time, I really wasn't very nice to myself about it, because I thought that I needed to learn how to be like that. And I needed to like, and that you just better figure it out, Jennifer. Like, you got to. And it's like, that's not me. And I can figure it out for myself. Like, it's not about figuring it out for everybody else. You have to be responsible for you and who you are and how you show up. And I want to be the change that I want to see in the world. So I'm going to keep on working on myself to be the change. And some days when I'm not having it, I might just be showing up 10%. But I'm still showing up.
I tell people 10% of Nicole is better than 100% of most people, because I give 500% every day. And so if you're getting 10% of me, like at a job or something, you're getting better than most employees. So 10% is fine. It's fine. Lily said, I've been reading books on the ethics of intuitive practices lately. And that I want to address that because Aunt Jen said something beautiful. And it was, the voices in her head were always nice. They were never negative. And so one of the main things as far as ethics of any spiritual practice or healing practice, no one should be scaring you, telling you, if you don't pay me, that demon is going to stay attached to your dead baby, or anything horrible like that. If anybody who is selling some type of spiritual practice is saying something negative, get as far away as fast as you can, because spirit is never negative. Spirit is never scary. You may get jump started. Like, you might get startled if you see a spirit in your living room, which has happened to me before I was a medium. A full blown person was walking through. It didn't scare me because it was daylight and I actually thought it was my husband, but he was on the other end of the house. So it was a spirit. That's another story. But anything that is scary, anything, if you are watching a live stream of somebody, and there's a lot of really unethical practitioners on the internet saying things, if they're saying scary things, negative things, horrible things, saying spirits are attached, spirits are stuck, anything in the negative like that about anything spiritual, any spirit, anybody's attached or stuck on earth, run, run, run. They are unethical. So essentially, Lily, ethics is, think about how, if you had a child, how would you want your child treated by their preschool teacher? That's an easy, like, you don't want them yelling at them or telling them they're bad or anything negative, right? You want to be lifted up. And so that's kind of a little baseline. Let's see. Mangold said, Dr. Lisa Vest has a good book called The Ethical Psychic. Okay, good. Thank you, Mangold. And Mangold, thank you for being my moderator and always popping on, even when you're busy and things are
thank you.
a struggle. Bazinski said, I got attuned to Reiki on all levels, Metatronia, and did an unapologetic clean sweep of my life. At this stage, my time and energy are way too valuable to squander on drama and chaos. It's not always easy. Gold star, all the way, all the way.
I love Reiki.
Well, I like the last sentence. My time and energy are way too valuable to squander on drama and chaos. And it's not always easy. Because let me tell you.
It's usually not easy. It's not something that's easy. I don't think.
Let me tell you, sometimes something happens and I want to fall back into my drama days because I have 5 sisters. And ain't nothing worse than a bunch of girls on their period gossiping about somebody's best friend did something, right? So you can imagine. And so sometimes something happens. I'm like, oh, I want to tell everybody. And I'm like, you're not that person anymore. That's, and when I feel that urge, and this is what I ask myself, is this to benefit me? Is this going to make me feel like I'm powerful by talking trash about this other person? And if it's to benefit me, no. If it's to share information and get advice, what should I do? And I present it in a loving, heartfelt way, that's a different story. But if I'm calling up everybody I've ever known, guess what happened? No. I can't do that anymore. I've grown.
That's growth, darling.
We're all growing.
But even if it's not falling back into that, like, there's that piece of it that's hard. But then there's also the piece of it of, like, you're used to being that way, or or that's how you're a part of it with them. And so now all of a sudden you're not. And so then you're the problem as usual, right? And so then now it's something else. Whereas before they were talking about you for whatever. Now they're talking about you for this. And it's just like, okay.
But when you realize, when you leave a room and people start trash talking the person that left the room, and then you realize, oh, they're doing that to me when I leave the room. Mm-hmm. I remember that happening to me early 90s. And I'm like, oh, they're talking about all these people every time they leave the room. And then I bet they're doing the same thing to me when I leave the room. And that was like, what is happening? That was a big eye-opening moment. Gina saw a spirit sitting on the couch next to her.
Okay, Gina.
Lily ordered the book that Mangold said, see what this beautiful community does. We share information. We share resources. Mangold's not making any money off that book, but she knows it's a good book. And so she recommended it to somebody else. I love it. Mm-hmm. I love it. Yeah. Unless Mangold is the author, but I don't think so. Maybe she might be. Okay. Aunt Jen, any final words on your spiritual journey today?
I mean, we're here and we're doing it. And, we do the tools, even if we don't want, I always say, like, the hardest part about, doing yoga is getting on the mat. Like, it's true. Like, it was really hard. I just kept looking at it today. Like, there you are. But I got on it, right? I did, I did it reluctantly today. I was like, whatever.
Because it's a mud day. It's mud day Monday.
I was like, whatever, but I still did it. And like, then you have these moments of like, whatever's happening. So it's like, I think it's just like, you got to love yourself through all of it. And for anybody out there, like, I get it that it's all like, it's not all, I'm not trying to make it all like lotus and mud, but I mean, it is a lot of mud. And then it's a lot of like, you think you got out and then all of a sudden you're back in it again. You're like, what happened?
How did that happen?
What? It's like, they're like layers, like an onion. And I think the thing to look at, if this is resonating with people and you're like, oh my gosh, you're hitting something. What are you going to say? What are you going to say, Aunt Jen? Like, pay attention to how you feel based on that situation and notice that it's probably shifted slightly.
Right.
Because you're not the same. You have grown. You have like, whether it's not kept you down as long or it's not like, oh, I didn't even used to put the yoga mat out, whatever someone said, right? Whatever it is, like, notice that within yourself instead of always looking at it as like, oh my God, here we are again in the negative hole. And when you are in that space, I believe like yin and yang, like darkness and lightness, like people that think you just walk around. I mean, I don't know. I'd like to meet them. These people that they live their whole life in the light always. Like, I'm like, I'd call bullshit.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I just don't think that's logical. And you can get more of a balance. I look at it my way. Like, I lived mostly in the dark. Like, as I'm getting more, I'm hoping that it's going to balance out where the light is going to be higher than the right. I'm looking for that kind of a spectrum shift. And I think that like, you have to keep in mind that like where are you trying to get to?
Right.
Where are you think, where are you getting to that like, oh, I'm done. You think it's not like a marathon that you stand there, like we're going to be standing at the end and me and Nicole are going to be like, okay, come on.
You did it.
Like, you did it. Like, it's like, no. Like, it's like, then once you get through that, you'd probably be disappointed because you'd see there's a whole nother place to go. And it's like, so it's all this internal journeying of whatever that looks like. And for some people, again, it's not their way of life. Well, they probably have an interesting life. Good for them. Like that. Right. I don't know. And I don't, whatever. But if you're on it and you're having this and it feels really discouraging, look at it as like comparing yourself to yourself of a version when you're responding to like dropping something on the ground and getting frustrated. Right. And then there's times when we get more frustrated because like, and then learning how to compassionately inquire, learning how to reparent yourself. What do I need? What is happening? And then not shaming and or guilting yourself. Toilet kisser.
Oh, hi, Toilet Kisser. Thanks for boosting us.
I was like, I saw that. I can't see anything else, but all I see is someone that's just saying Toilet Kisser like so many times. What does that mean?
I don't know what happens to people.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know what happens to people in their brains. I just
Okay. So yeah, I would just say, and don't compare yourself to anybody else but you. And
the troll bot is not on a spiritual journey, so we're not comparing ourselves to him.
No, but maybe the troll bot needs a little love. Like I
always send love.
Yeah, you need some love, buddy.
And I always send love. Anybody that's hurting that bad to come on somebody's spiritual live stream and say there's a troll.
Exactly. I mean, do you have any? What would you say at the end?
I would say it's like when you're on the highway. Everybody here's been on the highway, I would imagine, driving. Right? We've all been on the highway in a car. And somebody speeds around you into traffic. And you're like, hey, buddy, where are you going? And I always say with my husband, we used to get mad and we came up with this. We're going to give them a first place ribbon. We're going to gift that person who sped in front of us and is weaving in and out of traffic a first place ribbon. because they think they won the race.
Mm.
Okay. And so that I say the person in the speedy car is on their spiritual journey. That's the analogy. They're speeding through trying to get to the finish line.
Hmm.
Well, there is no finish line on the highway unless you take an exit, but then you're behind other cars.
Hmm.
So there's always another car to pass. There's always another hurdle to jump. There's always another challenge. Like I am 55, my husband's 54. The odds are men die younger than women. So I'm going to have to deal with that someday, right? Or he's going to have to deal with my death someday, right? There's always another challenge. That's a big one to think about. Or I have not lost a sibling to death, right? That's going to be a challenge. That's going to be massive. That's a huge, huge thing to consider. There's always another challenge in life. There's always another loss. A pet, right? You dealt with that recently, a pet loss. That's a huge challenge. That's painful. You have to grieve that. I love my son's dog. Whenever they bring her here, I take care of her like she's my own. I spoil her. I take her on walks. And she's only a year old, but she's part of our family, right? Because we spend a lot of time together. And so we have to prepare for that. There's going to be that challenge. So always keep in mind, on the good days, enjoy them and embrace them. And on the bad days, know that don't stay in the mud. You can stay in it for a little while, but you have to come out of it. Grieving is fine. Mourning is fine. But do the work to continue your life, because there's a reason you're here. You may not know what it is, and that's okay. There's a reason every one of us are here. Mm-hmm. And that's what I would say. And Gina said she got her yoga mat out a couple months ago and hasn't touched it.
Yeah, I get it. That's perfect. That's a part of the problem. See, someone else would be like, what are you doing? And I would say that's part, like if you were my client, I'd be like, that you're doing it perfect. Like, and no, don't make yourself do it any sooner. Like, you look at it and a pattern interrupts, like you got it out of the garage. Like, it's all part of the process.
Right.
It's just got to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the house is built. And it's like, I mean, I know I'm a little bit of a slacker, but like, really though, like you can't build that house that fast, people. Like there's a compromise. Like I might be a little slow, and like there's no way that you can just go from one and done like that. Like that you're missing the point of like all the times too that you do look at that yoga mat and what do you say to yourself?
Right. Right.
How are you talking to yourself?
The language.
Oh, you're stupid. Look at you. You got like, okay, girl, well, that's showing something. Or like, ooh, that yoga mat looks shiny. It sure does. I'm going to leave it there. Like, what are you, right? Like, how are you, like, right? Because I know when my little smart ass comes out and responds, we're in way better shape, right? Like, it's like, or just being like, oh, you look real nice. Good for you. Like, versus like, there's that yoga mat and I'm not using it. I think that's way more important, is what are you saying to yourself and how are you handling whatever that yoga mat is the example.
And you are right where you're supposed to be. You've said that 1,000 times. I learned that from you. And on that note, you are all right where you are supposed to be. We love you all. Oh, hi, Miss Jackson. We love you all. We're continuing to build community. We're going to need each other more than you can ever imagine over the next few years. Yes. Keep sending love. Love is the highest vibration. Anything negative, fill it with love and it will dissipate. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful week.
Thank you. We'll see you next week.